$1,000 difference, the financial institution is willing to lend me at a pretty low rate of interest, and I can use that for my pool, or I can use it to fix up my basement, or you can pretty much use it for anything. You can use it for college tuition. It's just a very low rate of interest for those types of loans. And again, that was like a huge, like that's something you're not gonna need to know for a very long time, but it's nice to be exposed to because you hear those terms. So now we're going to talk about loan security. Loan security is something that is pledged as security for repayment of a loan. If you don't repay the loan, then that item is forfeited. So how does that work? When you go to the financial institution and you get a loan for a car, they give you the check, you go buy the car. That car is actually in the financial institution's name because they gave you the check and you didn't pay for it yet. So then they use that item as collateral. It's in their name and you're making payments. Well, at the end of 5 years, and when you pay the car off, then they hand you the title and say, congratulations, it's now your car. In the meantime, if you don't pay, they own the car. So what do? They take the car from you and they ruin your credit. But they have to try to recoup something, so they take the car. The same with the house. You've heard a lot of places have, in this economy a couple years ago, a lot of people had houses that were foreclosed on. They pledged their house as security. They got the loan for the house. They didn't make the payments. The bank or the financial institution takes the house. Now, I want to be very clear that financial institutions are not in the business. We don't want to own homes and we don't want to own cars because it doesn't pay. So that is not our business. Our business is to help you pay and to make arrangements for you to pay. I'm just telling you that if you don't pay, 2 serious things happen. Your stuff gets taken away and your credit gets ruined. The next type of security is it's unsecured, and there's no item as collateral. It's basically secured by your signature and your good word. Okay, your signature and your good word. That means basically when you go to Bonton and you get that credit card, you actually sign a little pad that says like I'm gonna pay. So if you don't pay, do they come to your house and take the clothes back? No, they don't. What do? They ruin your credit. They show bad marks that you didn't pay on your credit. So those are mostly like your credit cards or your loans that don't have any security, not house or car. So how much does credit cost? When you don't save your money, you don't have the money to buy things right away and you need a loan, how much does a loan cost? 2 parts to that. A loan you can be charged fees. There's annual maintenance fees, service charges, or late fees. You know what that is. You don't pay on time, they slap you with a late fee. Why? They need to make a little money. We also need to make money because we're giving you our money. So what do we want to do? We give you the money, we need a little scratch on the back. So you need furniture. So you come to me and you say, I'd like $5,000 to buy a refrigerator, some sofas, and a TV for my apartment. All right, your credit's all right. I'll give you the money. I'll give it to you at 12% interest. So I make $675 off of that. And when you turn that around, now your stuff costs $675 more. That's the cost of doing business. You didn't have it saved, you paid a little extra. No big deal. However, interest rates can be fixed or variable. Fixed means it's the same through the whole loan. Mostly that's like your car loan, your house loan, your personal loan. But rates of interest during the loan that you take the money out, it can change. It can be variable. And that's tied to the outside market. So if the outside market changes, the financial world changes, then the institutions have the ability to raise rates or lower rates to cover their cost of lending you the money. They don't do it without notifying you, so if your rate does change in your loan, they have to tell you. And a lot of times that could happen on like a credit card. It might even be a clause if you make 2 late payments, your rate goes up and changes. It's kind of like a penalty. When you do get a credit card statement and they ask you to pay your monthly payment, what happens? Let's say I buy a MacBook and it costs me $1,000. I get the bill in the mail and it says, please pay $33 for this monthly payment. Well, my rate of interest is 10.99%. So if I pay $33, it's going to take me 4 years to pay off my MacBook. And so I essentially paid $1,300 for it. I didn't have the money, so it's the cost of doing business. But if I pay $2 extra a month, I'm going to pay it off a year earlier, and I'm going to save $80. Well, $80, that's not that much. Well, that's $1,000. Let's look at like a real family's credit card. A real family's credit card looks like this. They have maybe almost a balance of $10,000. The minimum payment when you get your bill is you have to pay $255 a month, and the interest rate's 18.99%. Okay, so if they just pay the $255, it's going to take them 18 years to pay that credit card balance off, never charging another thing. 18 years. That's a long time, right? It's crazy. However, if you pay just $100 more a month, you can pay it off in 3 years and you save $9,800. So the financial institution, by telling you you only have to pay just this $255, they make that. You pay more, they only make that. Okay? So, moral of the story is, don't just pay the minimum. Try, even if it's $10 extra, $20 extra, $50 extra, try to just pay a little bit more, because if you only pay what they ask, it's basically just spinning your wheels and you'll never get that paid off. So how many of you have checking and savings accounts? Good. How about debit cards? Awesome. Okay. Let me tell you a little bit about debit cards. Debit cards are great tools because they only allow you to spend what's in your checking account. I encourage you all to go out there, open an account, $5. Everybody's got $5, you know. Get your checking account open. You're learning how to write checks out and keep a checkbook register right now. You know, it's a perfect time. Get that debit card. Put your money into the financial institution and start using it. And I'll tell you how it's awesome. You can go on your phone and get an app. So you can transfer money in the app. You can see what you used your debit card on. Using a debit card is a good budgeting tool. So if you have cash in your pocket and you spend it, you don't remember what you spent it on, you can look back in your account and say, oh, I went to Starbucks and I went to the movies and I spent $50 on clothes and then I did this. It's a good budgeting tool. It's also safer than cash. If you have cash in your pocket, you're walking down the mall, falls out, hey, it's gone. If you put the money in your account and you use your debit card, if your debit card falls out of your pocket and somebody tries to use it, it's going to actually, it's safer because you call your financial institution and say to them, hey, I lost my debit card Friday night at the mall at 8 o'clock. Well, after 8 o'clock, any purchases that may have been made with that card are refunded. So you're not responsible for them. So that's awesome. So it's safer than cash. However, a debit card is not reported on your credit report. So you're not going to get credit for a debit card. What is on your credit report? This slide, you have to make a star next to it because you need to know this. So, when you go to get a loan, what do we look at? Make a little note. We look at your capacity. We look to see, can you pay the loan? If I give you a loan, can you pay it? Can you make the payment? Then, we look at your capital. Do you have any money in your savings account? Do you have anything stashed away? And the third thing we look at is your character. Your character is your credit report. So we decide whether or not you can have a loan based on your credit report. Or those three things. Also, can you pay me? Do you have any money stashed away? And what's your credit report look like? There are 3 credit bureaus that we can get a credit report from. And we pull that credit report, and at the top of it, it has identifying information. Your name, your social security number, it has your addresses, and it stays with you, so you could have addresses for, you know, a couple years listed on there. It also has your job, where you're currently working. The next section is public records information. That's the bad stuff, okay? You guys don't have any of that right now, but what that is if you didn't pay a bill and you have a collection, or you didn't pay your taxes and you have a tax collection, or you got a car repossessed, okay? So that's the bad stuff. Then there's the credit history. That is like the big chunk of your credit report. Everywhere you've gotten credit from is listed there. So if you have 3 credit cards, 2 student loans, and a car loan, they each have their own line. And so that's quite a big chunk of the credit report. If you pay the loan off, it doesn't automatically disappear. It stays on there for 7 to 10 years. So I can see who lent you money 10 years ago and how you paid them, if you paid them on time. The next section is who ran your credit report, the inquiries. So who can run your credit report? Financial institutions, cell phone companies, employers, apartments, utilities. So when you go to get an apartment, they're going to want to see if you didn't pay somebody else, so they run your credit report. When you go to get a cell phone, they want to see, did you pay AT&T? If you didn't, I'm not going to give you a Sprint phone. And employers. So they ran my credit report. If I had a horrible credit report, I may not have gotten my job, because they don't want me working around money if they think I have a motive to like steal money and, you know, help pay for all the collections I have out against me. So that whole thing that we talked about, all the public record information, the credit history, and the inquiries, all those things make up a score. So you have this credit report with a score. The score is called the Fair-Isaac score, and it goes anywhere from 350 to 850. An average score is between like 650 and 700. If you come in and try to get a loan and your credit score is 400, you're probably not getting a loan. Credit score is 750, you're probably getting a loan. Financial institutions use this score to decide whether or not you're going to get the loan and how much interest they're going to charge you. This is on your test. So you need to get to this section and star these slides. What is your credit score made of? 35% is if you made your payments on time. So if you make your payments on time every time like you're supposed to, credit score is looking good. 30% is your capacity or amounts owed. Basically what that means is if you have 6 credit cards and they're all charged up, you don't have any capacity to borrow more, and it might mean that you can't make the payments or that you're overextended. So your score goes down. If you have a couple credit cards and you have the ability to borrow money on them, then your score is okay or it goes up. So if you pay off 3 of those 6 credit cards and close them and get rid of them, your score is going to increase. 15% is your length of credit history. It's very hard for you guys to start out getting credit, I will admit that. The easiest way to do it is to do it with a credit card, and then you have to handle it well, or a car loan or a student loan. Those are going to be your first loans. 10% is your accumulation of new debts. So how fast are you getting new credit? If you get a credit card, a student loan, and a car loan all in 2 months, your score is going to go down. 10% is the types of credit used. So what kind of credit do you have? If you have a little bit of everything, like a car loan, a student loan, and 2 credit cards, then your score is okay. But if it's all credit cards, then it's going to bring your score down. So now we're going to talk a little bit about when somebody comes in to get a loan, what do we look at? We want to see how long they've had credit, if they maxed out all their credit cards, or if they have the ability to borrow. If you have the ability to borrow, great. I'm excited, I'll give you a loan. I want to figure out how much you make versus how much you pay out in credit cards or loans, and if you can afford my loan, that's great. I want to make sure that you didn't go all around town looking for a loan and have like 10 inquiries in the past 4 days. That means nobody else gave you a loan and you're coming to me. I don't want to see that you got 6 credit cards in 6 months, because that shows that there might be, something going on, that you need a ton of money and you're, maybe not budgeting as well as you should. I don't want to see any past due accounts or public records. And I just want to see that you had a couple credit cards and you charged a little and you paid a little and you charged a little and you paid a little. So when I give you the loan, I now have to look at those things. Can you pay me and your credit report? Now I say, okay, I've decided 2 of you came to me for loans for the same car, and I'm going to give you both the loan. However, you have amazing, amazing credit. You are like awesome. Your score is 800, amazing credit, and you have horrible credit. But you both wanted the car. So it's the same car, Toyota Corolla, $10,000. I decide I'm going to lend you both the money, and I'm going to give him the loan at 2.49% interest. So I feel okay about lending him the money. I'm going to make $645 off of that loan. So that's my cut. I lend him the money, I get $645. I give her the loan, but I charge her 7.49% interest, because she's a little bit more risky. She didn't pay a couple bills on time, and I'm a little nervous to give her the 10 grand. So I'm going to make her pay a little bit higher interest rate. I make $2,000 off of that. So now they pay off their Toyota Corolla, and they come back a couple years later, and they both want a Honda Accord. Okay? So his credit is still amazing. He's doing great, paid me every time on time. I give him the Honda Accord at 2.49%. For lending my money out, I make $1,600. Her credit, she paid me late like 5 times. I had to call her on the phone and be like, please, can you make a payment? You missed last month. I had to spend all this time. Her credit report's not that great, but in the end, she did pay me. So since you were loyal and you paid me, I'll give you another loan. I charge you 7.49%. So what do I make? I make $5,000. Same car. Is that fair? 2 people, same car, same loan, and off of her I make $5,000, and off of him I make $1,600. Is that fair? No? You don't think it's fair? Yes, you do? You do? Okay. Why is it fair?
Because you're lending someone your, not personally your money, but the money, and then you expect back in return. And if you don't, then it makes sense to charge someone.
Yes. So this is called risk-based lending. So I'm taking a risk and I'm lending you the money. I may never see it again. And this is called reward-based lending. I'm going to reward you because you got a good credit score. So it's the same thing. I use the example in the other class. It's the same thing as if I gave you all a test and everyone got an A except for this guy, and he failed. And I feel really bad for him, and I'm like, oh my gosh, and I'm getting evaluated, and I'm thinking, I don't want it to look bad that I got this student that failed, so I'm just going to give everybody a D. How would you feel about that? That's not going to fly, is it? No way. No way. So it's the same with credit. That's how it works. That's interesting. So I'm going to talk at this point a little bit about co-signing. So I mentioned earlier the easiest way to get a loan is probably a credit card or a car loan or a student loan. If you're going to get a car loan at this point, you will probably need a co-signer. Let's say dear old dad goes down to the financial institution, he borrows 10 grand and he says, I need you to go in and you make the payment every month, $175. And here's the car keys. Are you getting credit for that on your credit report? No, you're not, because your name is not on the loan. So even if you're making the payments, you're not getting the credit. So what you want to say is, hey, dear old dad, I'd really like it if I really want to start getting some credit. I want to get established, and since I'm going to be making the payments, I'd really like to be on the loan. So when somebody co-signs for you, they use their good credit to vouch for you. If you don't pay, then they are responsible, okay? But you are gaining credit for that. So now you make your payments and you're doing really great and you both get that on your credit report. Let's say you don't make a payment. It is also reported on both your credit reports. So it could damage dear old dad's credit if you don't make a payment. And then the financial institution is going to call him and say, we need you to come in here and pay because she didn't make the payment. So he is going to be responsible for paying that. Also, being a co-signer, it's a big deal because he could go out and be trying to get a loan, and he might be denied a loan because he has your car loan in his name, or he's co-signed for you. So in other words, they could look at him and say, you already have 3 car loans, and if I give you another loan, you're not going to technically, you don't make enough money to make all these payments, and I feel like it's a little risky. Well, that's my daughter's loan. Well, it doesn't matter, because if she doesn't pay, you're still responsible for it. So having a co-signer is a really big deal. So you need to take it seriously and make sure that if somebody is willing to vouch for you with their credit, you don't ruin their credit, you make your payments on time, and it's something that really helps you out. So the last thing I want to talk about is 0% interest. This is like a catch. It's another thing like the credit cards at the store that I kind of explained earlier. If you don't work it right, you get caught. So 0% interest, what happens? You hear these ads on TV, 0% interest for 12 months, no payments for 36 months. Okay, how does that work? That is something like they use to advertise refrigerators or carpet or furniture. So what happens is you go to the place and Best Buy, you decide you're going to buy a $1,000 refrigerator. Okay, so Best Buy gives you their Best Buy credit, and it's 12 months with no interest. Wow, that's a pretty good deal. So I'm getting money, I'm making a loan, and there's no interest, and that's really good. The interest rate is 29.99%. That states it on the credit card information or the credit information at Best Buy. Best Buy sends me the bill, and I pay $35. They only told me to pay $35, so I pay $35 every month. At the end of 12 months, I've only paid $420 of the $1,000, and guess what? The next thing you know, I get a huge charge of $30. Why did I get a charge of $30? So I start looking at the fine print. And this is literally from one of these things. Like, this is no joke. This is taken exactly, the wording is exactly from one of these deals. Here's how it reads. If I would have read the fine print a little bit better, I would have understood. No interest if paid within the promotional period. Under this promotion, no interest charges will be assessed if the promotional purchase balance of $1,000 is paid in full within the promotional period of 12 months. I didn't do that. Why? Because I only paid $35. That's all they asked me for. That's kind of what they were banking on, because here's how it works. If the promotional purchase balance of $1,000 is not paid in full by the end of the promotional period of 12 months, which it's not, interest will be imposed from the date of purchase at the APR stated above. So what did they do? They charged me 29.99% from day one on the original balance. So they kind of tricked me. So what you need to do is you need to take how much you borrowed, the $1,000, divided by 12 months, and you need to make that amount of payment every month. If you are 1 penny short, you will end up getting the charge. So basically, they're dangling it out there for you, saying no interest, but you only have to pay this much, but they don't give you the actual amount to pay it off. So you just be really careful with that. Used correctly, it's a great tool. It is a great tool. I bought my washer and dryer that way. I bought my refrigerator that way. Used correctly, it's an amazing tool. But if you don't use it correctly, you kind of get in trouble. So what you want to do is look around when you go to get a loan, check out the interest rates, make sure you make your payments on time, take care of your credit. Make sure you have a good mix, get some student loans and credit cards. You don't want to have all credit cards. You don't want to have too many loans that you can't pay for. And you don't want to use credit cards to buy things like groceries and gas. Okay? Do you have any questions? I really appreciate your attention. I just want to, again, mention to you that if you go to any credit union in the area and you open an account, you're going to be getting a better deal. You're going to pay less in fees, and credit unions are kind of root for the little guy. So as someone starting out, this is a better option for you, and they're going to be a lot more, you're going to learn a lot more when you join a credit union. So I encourage you to go out there, get an account open, and get your debit card. And thank you so much for your time today. Just go ahead and put that in your folder, and see you guys soon.